We normally don't dabble in the NFL or the NFL draft here, but the Big Ten is going to show its dominance by taking over the first 2 hours of the NFL draft tonight. We used to say that about the SEC. Times have changed. What to expect tonight? Be ready to be in awe. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, I'm Craig Shemon. Welcome to Locked On Big Ten, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the #1 sports podcast network. Hit that free subscribe button there while you're watching so you never miss a single episode. We are here every day. Later on, we'll get to our Big Ten Classics and live action for the weekend on the Big Ten Network. We'll have Big Ten news. The Indiana spring game is tonight. In addition to watching their now former quarterback be the #1 pick of the draft, we'll tell you how that's going to play out. In addition to Fernando Mendoza, 4 Ohio State Buckeyes are set to dominate the top of the NFL draft tonight. So non-Big Ten people are still trying to wrap their heads around the fact that the Indiana Hoosiers are the reigning college football playoff national champions and the winner of the Heisman Trophy, for that matter. Frankly, I think some Big Ten people are still having trouble wrapping their heads around all that. And now everybody is going to have to wrap their heads around the fact that an Indiana Hoosier is going to be the first pick of the NFL draft this evening when the Las Vegas Raiders turn in their selection. After that, we're going to witness a barrage of Ohio State Buckeyes. They could tie an NFL record with 4 draft selections from Ohio State, 4 of them in the top 10 of the NFL draft. The modern day record, that belongs to the Michigan State Spartans in 1967. They placed 4 players inside the top 10 from their 1966 championship team. By the way, historians, Bubba Smith went #1 that year. Clint Jones, George Webster, and Gene Washington all were in the top 8. Very impressive. Some are suggesting that the Ohio State Buckeyes, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Carnell Tate, Caleb Downs, could all go in the top 7. That would be unprecedented. And again, show the strength of the Big Ten. By the way, just a little footnote, who's Ryan Day going to be sitting with in the green room? You know, you get the families, the head coach. He's got all those players going to be going boom, boom, boom in the beginning of the draft. I hope all the Buckeyes will be sitting close to each other so they could be there. Maybe he'll get wind of who's getting drafted in just a second and go do the photo op and then move on to the next guy. Anyway, it's going to be a great night for Ryan Day. Great night for him to tout what he's done with his program. And, I mean, Ohio State always has a lot of kids drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. But this is a special night from the top on bottom. And don't forget, they got tackle Caden McDonald. He likely is going to go in the first round as well. Probably not the top 10. But that would give the Buckeyes 5 first-rounders. So, again, a little note for you historians out there. In 2021, Alabama had 6 players drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. That was back when the SEC used to be good. The 2004 Hurricanes got 6 in the first round. The 2007 Gators, the 2006 Buckeyes, and the 2020 LSU Tigers all got 5 in the first round. So, tonight will likely be a record night where the Big Ten will get to shine, and with a little history, kind of show you where tonight could fall among the greats in the past. Let me start off with Mendoza, then we'll talk more about the Buckeyes. You know, 3 months ago-ish, if you were told me that he was going to the Raiders, I'd have said, yikes, right? I mean, the Raiders have been a dumpster fire of an organization. That's why they're picking first. I also would have cringed a little bit, knowing how Mendoza is a faith-filled man, family-centric man. Now he's going to call Sin City his home. That's a little ironic. I think he can handle it. In fact, I think Vegas could use more people like Mendoza living in there. I also like the fact that the Raiders have actually acquired a little bit of talent here in the offseason, and that includes Pro Bowl center Tyler Linderbaum from the Ravens. So he's going to have a guy in the middle of the offensive line, helping him with play calls, a veteran presence there. Plus, in addition to a few other pickups they made, the Max Crosby trade backfired, so they still have him. Still one of the best in the league. I think the Raiders are going to be a much improved team this year. They play in a pretty tough division, though. But I also like, and this is the part I think I like the best for Mendoza, is they signed veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins as a mentor. Cousins literally could be his older brother. I mean, they're the same guy. Faith-filled men, family-centric men, full of positivity. Play quarterback. They even look a little bit the same, same kind of haircut, same look, old. It's going to be a great fit. It's going to be a great fit. And they seem to both be up for it. Kirk Cousins kind of knows the deal this time around. He won't be blindsided the way he was with the Atlanta Falcons and the Michael Penix pick. And Mendoza said he's cool. If they want me to ease into it, take my time. He said, I'll just learn as much as I can to be a sponge. And when the time is right, he'll jump out there. So it's a great night for Mendoza and the Hoosiers and the Raiders. And it's going to be a great night for the Buckeyes. I think the only question for the Buckeyes here early on, right? Outside linebacker Arvell Reese. Is he going to go 2 to the Jets or 3 to the Cardinals? And will that flip with safety Caleb Downs, one or the other, who I think will be the next Buckeye off the board? There's linebacker Sonny Styles. And then probably wide receiver Carnell Tate. I like him going 7, by the way, to the Commanders. So as long as we're talking about Big Ten players, we got a bunch of them still that aren't at Indiana. Well, one more maybe at Indiana and Ohio State. We got USC wide receiver Makai Lemon. He's going to go in the middle of the first round. Frankly, a lot of people, and myself included, I like him at number 13 with the Rams, staying in Los Angeles. I think that'd be a good fit for him there. There is Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq, who I'm a big fan of. Big, strong, fast tight end. Can catch. He can play like a wide receiver. He can block what he has to. I think he's going to be a good pick for somebody in the middle of the first round. Back to the Hoosiers. Wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. He's projected to go from anywhere in the middle of the first round to maybe slipping early second round. I think he'll be a first round pick. And in fact, once he is picked, get ready on TV for the highlight package montage. The first play, of course, will be his fancy toe tapping footwork at the back of the end zone on the game-winning catch at Penn State. That'll live with him forever, just like Mendoza. I think that play sealed the Heisman Trophy to Mendoza, who threw that ball to Omar Cooper Jr. and kept the Hoosiers' undefeated season alive. So a lot of guys, more guys that are going to go in the Big Ten in the first round. Former Purdue and Oregon safety Dillon Thieneman. I think he's a lock to go number 18 to the Minnesota Vikings. Like every mock draft I see has him going number 18 right there to the Vikings. There's also Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston, good size and good speed. He could crack the top 20. There's Penn State guard Olai Vega. He could go in the first round as well. And I think if we just ran through all those players, you got it? Locked on Big Ten. This is like election night, making predictions, calling an election. Locked on Big Ten is predicting 11 Big Ten players drafted in the first round of the NFL draft tonight. 11 of the 32, 1/3 of the field, basically. And it will reiterate why the Big Ten is now the premier football conference in America. Comments, hit me up. Where's your favorite player going? Will Ohio State get the 4 in the top 10? These other players I mentioned, where do you think they're going? I know you all do mock drafts in your spare time. Hit me up with the comments. I would love to hear from you on that, on all of them. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss an episode. And if you could share, follow, and like, that helps us out too. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Don't forget, you can also check out our website. It's talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there. You can go back and check out yesterday's if you missed it for a second listen. Yesterday, we previewed the Oregon Ducks spring game coming up. Best quarterback room in the country by far, with Dante Moore and Dylan Raiola, Kelly Smith Jr. You got some talent there. So I'm looking forward to watching that game on the Big Ten Network on Saturday. Anyway, we previewed it in yesterday's. Check it out for a second listen. Also, while you're there, We list logos for all 18 Big Ten teams. Click on the logo. It'll take you to a store just for your school, right? We talk about Ohio State today. Click it. Click the O. You'll go to Ohio State store with Ohio State shirts, logos, pennants, T-shirts. Click the Indiana I. Boom. Take you right there. Get yourself some national championship swag from the Indiana Hoosier football team. Still there. All of that. Podcasts and merch right there on our website, talkbig10.com. So don't forget tonight, in addition to the draft, it's also Indiana's spring game. Tell you how they're going to tie those two events together. Plus, we'll have some Big Ten news. Recruiting is hot as ever. What is your school up to? And we will also have our Big Ten Classics and live action on the schedule. We'll highlight some of the things coming up this weekend on the Big Ten Network. All that's coming up in 1 minute right here on the Locked On Big Ten. Workplace chaos, the deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and oh yeah, you got to hire people. And it's not easy in the office. You got to interview, you got to find resumes, all that kind of stuff. Indeed sponsored jobs. Indeed sponsored jobs will help you out because the pressure's on. You might get to the point where the work is overwhelming and you might just want a warm body in there and it might not be the right person. You might make a mistake, and then that's even worse than before. Don't make that mistake. Be on cruise control. Indeed sponsored jobs gets the right people, the right skills, the right experience, the right locations in front of you so you can interview them and hire them. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours just made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. And if you're hiring, you can spend less time searching, more time interviewing with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners and viewers of this podcast get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our podcast. Tell them you heard about Indeed here on Locked On. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Thank you for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day. Now, we're here every day. We're free every day. However, you can level up and become a member of the Everydayer Club, which gets you the audio version of this podcast, Spotify, Apple, wherever you check it out, ad-free, interruption-free, and gives you access to our members-only Discord. We're on there chatting back and forth all the time with other Locked On hosts and listeners as well. So check it out at lockedonbig10.supercast.com. There's a link in the show notes afterward if you want to jump all over that. So in addition to the NFL draft, tonight is a big night for Indiana football. Not only will Fernando Mendoza be the first player drafted, but Indiana football, the defending national champions, they're holding their spring game. And for fans who want to watch the spring game in person at Memorial Stadium, but they also don't watch history be made, watching Mendoza get drafted number one, they can do both. The Indiana Athletic Department is going to combine both of those events. So those at the spring game will be able to watch the draft on the stadium video board so they won't miss a thing. Now, I'm not sure. Are they going to pause whatever they're doing in the scrimmage right about, 8:15 Eastern, 8:20? When the first pick is announced, when Roger Goodell, the commissioner, goes there, they probably pause and watch. I think that's what they're going to do. And it'll all be duly noted. And then everyone will keep an eye on the scrimmage moving forward, but also keep an eye on when maybe Omar Cooper gets drafted. Again, I'm hoping he goes in the middle of the first round as well. Also, by the way, the weather in Bloomington is expected to be in the 70s. No rain. Going to be a great night for football to celebrate everything they did, and looking forward to what's coming up in 2026. Pretty good roster for this year, too. They're going to be right back into the mix. But yeah, weather can be tricky this time of year in Bloomington. I know for a fact. I went there. But looks like tonight, Thursday night, it's going to be spectacular. Meanwhile, spent a lot of time talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes, and Buckeye fans, you'll remember running back James Peoples. He recently transferred to Penn State. Why? Well, it's pretty basic. He wanted more playing time, and he wanted to be where he could be more of a feature back instead of a role player. So he went to Penn State, and Penn State's blue and white spring practice is Saturday, not really an inter-squad scrimmage. This is new coach Matt Campbell's first go around there at Penn State, replacing James Franklin. Campbell is bringing numerous players from his Iowa State team, including transfer quarterback Rocco Becht, who should be the starter this year. It's very reminiscent of what Curt Cignetti did a couple of years ago, coming from James Madison and bringing 13 of his players with him to Indiana. And look how that turned out. Not too bad. Speaking of Penn State, former 2027 commit safety Khalil Terry. Remember his name? He decommitted from Penn State and then committed to Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame about 6 months ago. But now he's decommitted at Notre Dame, and he's reopening his recruiting. And maybe Notre Dame saw this coming because they've been recruiting a lot of safeties lately. Terry is from Tustin, California, and he's said to be looking at Oklahoma and Auburn, and his hometown UCLA Bruins are getting another look. I don't know if Penn State's going to try and jump back in or not. By the way, right now, Notre Dame has no safeties committed for 2027. Too bad. All right, Michigan football. They're known for running the football. And they're also always trying to get better at wide receiver. 2027 four-star Quentin Burrell has he's been a main target for some time. He's 6'2", 195. He's from Chicago. And he has made several visits to Ann Arbor lately, including this past weekend for the spring game. And he said he had a really good visit. Now, his top four schools are Michigan, Notre Dame, Arizona State, and Missouri. So he'll be at Arizona State this weekend. He'll be visiting Notre Dame in mid-June, but then Michigan gets the last visit weekend of June 19th. You know, the Wolverines also offered 2027 edge rusher Alex Johnson from Fort Mill, South Carolina, 6'3", 220. A bunch of Power Fours are starting to pay attention to him, so the offers are trickling in. He visited Ann Arbor for an official just a visit for the spring game this weekend, and then left with an offer for a scholarship, and then turned around and locked in an official revisit on June 19th. He's also looking at North Carolina State, Virginia Tech, and Boston College, Vandy, and SMU. Apparently, but I don't think he's had a visit with SMU, but he's visited everybody else. 5-star corner Joshua Dobson has Michigan in his final five, along with LSU, South Carolina, Auburn, and Texas A&M. He's from North Carolina. He's yet to visit Ann Arbor. We'll see. A lot of Michigan stuff here today. Michigan basketball, very busy. They are hosting a five-star center this weekend for 2027. And after locking up the number 2 high school recruiting class for 2026 with 5-star guard Brandon McCoy and 4-star forward Quinn Costello, now 2027 5-star center Obina Ekizi. He's 7 foot, 220 pounds, coming in for a recruiting visit this weekend. He's from Orlando, at least that's where he's been playing high school ball last year. Averaged 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. He's a native of Lagos, and he could reclassify, actually, meaning he could join this stellar 2026 class I was just telling you about, coming in early. His dad used to play in the NBA for the Wizards, the Mavericks, the Clippers, and the Hawks, and he also holds scholarship offers from, check out this list, Kentucky, USC, Ohio State, Louisville, Auburn, BYU, Georgetown, Kansas, North Carolina. Yeah, there's a few blue bloods in there after his services, so we shall see. Meanwhile, Oregon basketball, and they struggled this past year, but they landed Alabama transfer Taylor Bowen. He is 6'10", a little over 200 pounds, averaged 6 points and 4 rebounds a game as a junior with the Tide. He's originally from Egypt, played high school in Vermont, and the journeyman played at Florida State before he was at Alabama. Now he's going to go out west to Oregon. So we'll see if that's a good spot for him. If you are new to this podcast, thank you and welcome aboard. We do a few things here that make us unique compared to everybody else. First of all, we cover all 18 teams in the Big Ten. That's number one. Number two, we give you the news, we give you analysis of that news, and we give you opinion of that news. We don't shy away from opinions here. We're very big on opinions here at Locked On Big Ten. We also have features every single day. Nobody else does this. We have a lot of fun with end of podcast features. Mondays, We do our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Those are great talking points to launch off in various angles of what's going on around the Big Ten. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets from Twitter. Hit us up on X. We'll put it on the show on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we like to power rank things. Take a look at the Big Ten baseball power rankings as of late. Thursdays, we look at the Big Ten Network. Even though we are not affiliated with them, we have all the same interests. And so I highlight just a few things you might be interested in watching this weekend with Big Ten Classics and live play-by-play action. And then Fridays, we make picks. And we don't have a lot of games going on anymore. Basketball's done, football's done. But we'll go on the record with futures and odds and all that kind of stuff. We have a lot of fun with that. So, as I said, coming up in just a minute, we'll take a look at Big Ten Classics and live action coming up this weekend on the Big Ten Network. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. Thanks for making us your first listen every day, too. Spread the word. Tell people we're out here each and every day. All right, I'm going to put this on screen. If you're audio only, don't worry. It's just dates, school logos, and a few things. We don't do the entire lineup at Big Ten Network. We just highlight some things they could be interested in. So we'll pick it up with Friday, April 24th. Just a couple of things to point out. If you're busy watching the NFL draft on Thursday and maybe you don't get a chance to watch the Indiana spring game on Thursday, they're going to replay it. I got it in here a couple of times. They are, after all, the defending national champions. So 8:30 Friday night, you can get caught up with Indiana spring football and everything that's going on there. At 10 o'clock, we got some live Big Ten softball out on the West Coast. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. UCLA is at Washington, so you can catch that. Now, on to Saturday, April 25th. I can't believe we're almost done with April. Can you? At 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, if you want to wake up early on the West Coast, we've got an Oregon football classic, and it's the Oregon-Penn State game. That's right. That was a great game. Bad game for Penn State. Great game for Oregon. Dante Moore passing for 3 touchdowns to help the 6th-ranked Ducks beat the 3rd-ranked Nittany Lions 30-24 in double overtime. Dillon Thieneman, who we just said we think is a lock for number 18 to the Minnesota Vikings in the first round of the draft, got the game-winning interception in double overtime. And things started going south for Penn State. As you see, as I just said, Penn State was ranked 3rd going into this game. They were number 2 preseason, and then the bottom fell out. And then this game kind of launched Oregon into a pretty successful season. We got more spring football on the Big Ten Network at 12 Eastern, 11 Central. Minnesota, PJ Fleck. What do you got? The guy every year, 7, 8, 9 wins every single year. Get your first peek at the Minnesota Golden Gophers and their spring activities at noon Eastern. Then we go into some softball. We're going back and forth. Spring football, softball, spring football, softball. We got Penn State at Illinois for Big Ten softball at 2 o'clock Eastern. Then at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. I talked about this a lot earlier, talked about it a lot yesterday. If you want to check out yesterday's podcast for a second listen, the Oregon spring game. I want to look at Dante Moore. I want to look at Dylan Raiola. I want to look at these guys. Very excited about it. You can catch that again, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on the Big Ten Network. And then at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 Pacific, more Big Ten softball with UCLA at Washington. On to Sunday, April 26th. Again, if you missed the spring football game from Indiana from Thursday night or the replay on Friday, they're going to replay it on Sunday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern. Spring football, Kurt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers. And you can watch Josh Hoover, the new quarterback, big shoes to fill, taking over for Fernando Mendoza. And then at noon Eastern, it is the Big Ten Championship for women's lacrosse. And then at 3:30, we got the Big Ten Championship for women's golf. So a lot of variety for you on the Big Ten Network this weekend. A lot of good stuff. It's an exciting weekend, exciting time of year with the NFL draft and all, and the spring games going on. The draft is one last chance to look backward at the success that the Big Ten players had, getting themselves ready for the draft by playing excellent football in their collegiate careers of the Big Ten, and also a chance to look forward with all the spring games going on. Well, thank you for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. We are here every single day Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at some of those weekend spring games, spring practices, Minnesota, Penn State, just to name a few. Each and every weekend, we always like to look at those, and we'll preview them a little bit on Friday's podcast. And we'll find something fun for you for some future odds. Last week, we did college football championship odds, where the Big Ten teams fell, and also Heisman Trophy odds, stuff like that. We have a lot of fun here in the offseason with that. We're never lacking for anything to put on there. Anyway, we're here every day. We're free every day. If you could, hit that free subscribe button. That would be great. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you can also share, follow, and like, we always appreciate that as well. That helps us out too. In addition to the podcast, we're on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. And we also have our website. I'm going to put that right back on screen here. Our website, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts archived there, all of them, grouped by team, by date. Also, a link to 18 separate Big Ten merchandise stores for your favorite school. You can buy it right off of that while you're watching our podcast. Again, that is at talkbig10.com. Now, in addition to all the free stuff and being here every day free, and subscribe for free, which I encourage you to do. If you want to level up for $5 a month, we have an everydayer club. It's at lockedonbig10.supercast.com. What that gets you is the audio version of this podcast, ad-free, interruption-free. Just roll right through it every single day, and allows you our members-only Discord access. Get in there with the chat rooms and go back and forth. So that's there for you as well if you want, and become a member of the Everydayer Club. If you check us out every day, might as well be a member of the Everydayer Club. We do appreciate you, though. Thanks for tuning in. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow as we wind down another week, and enjoy the NFL draft. Enjoy all the Big Ten awesomeness with the draft as well. And until tomorrow, thanks for checking us out today for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon. We'll see you next time.